It's so run-of-the-mill almost that it's like you wouldn't even really think to come home at the end of the day and be like, oh, guess what happened to me? I got like viciously catcalled on the street.
Because it happens so often, they just kind of say like, yeah, I guess I get street harassed like on a daily basis as I'm coming to campus or leaving campus.
And then when we talk about sexual harassment or harassment on the street and how it affects our people, I want to turn that question around and say, why are these people think they have the right to do this in the first place? You know, and where is that question being asked?
So I can think of, 5 or 6 different individual instances in my life and just these feelings of like shame and humiliation. But to talk to other women, to ask them to reflect on it too, and like what is the sum of those parts, and like how does it change how you move around your city? How does it change how you relate to strangers? How does it change how you relate to your friends?
Our students need to feel more safe downtown, and more safe means less street harassment, less racialized harassment, less queerphobic harassment.
Unfortunately, I think we are still a reactive city and a reactive society where we wait for something awful to happen and then we respond. I'd like to see us be more preventative.
Because the same things that I was dealing with as a child early in the 70s, we're still dealing with today. The violence hasn't changed. It's just out there because we have social media, right? Our stories, my stories of my generation are still very real and impactful, and they haven't changed. And that's a very sad place to sit.
Perpetrators, need to be held accountable, which they have never been in the past because no one talked about it.
What there needs to be is a cultural shift of people taking responsibility for public space. And that includes women speaking out, maybe forming associations, and it includes men taking responsibility for their own action and also calling out other men when they see it happen.
For sexual violence to be seen as a campus issue and to be named as such, because it's important that we as students and campus community members are able to not only talk about it, but identify different ways that we can engage in a culture of consent, as well as how we can get there.
And moving forward, we have to really amp up the education in our school systems, starting as young as kindergarten and going right through to high school and university level. And I think that has been something that's always been lacking or sort of not supported as being a necessary part of any curriculum.
Call their city planning department and say, hey, this is what I'm noticing in this area, and I've got some ideas on how to address that. Why can't we create our city planning departments as being places that are open for people to call and negotiate?
When it is safe, and you do hear a joke that's being told around the dinner table or at the bar or whatever, have the courage to say, you know what, buddy, that's not okay. You shouldn't talk to people like that. You shouldn't leer at people like that. And if you don't feel safe, then report it to someone. It's not just up to the person who's experiencing the sexual harassment.
You can actually call the police. If you are, walking the same route every day or every couple of days and you always notice harassment in a certain location, talking to your city councilor, talking to the Downtown Business Association, institutions and agencies and individuals whose job it is to protect the well-being of the people in this community. But they don't always know that it's a problem.
We need to broaden that scope and make sure that we're talking to the people who are affected by decisions. And that's really what public engagement is about, is ensuring that we're talking to the people who are most affected by key decisions. And so how do we ensure that those groups are equally involved in decision making?
Where it's not just one person doing all the work on campus or a few people doing it on the side of their desk, but there are, more official resources that have more capacity to deal with these things and address sexual violence as an issue.
Go have that conversation with 5 more people. If each of us in this room talk about with 5 more people, even in the next week, That's 5 more people, and we challenge them to talk to 5 more people, right? We're gonna affect 25 more people, right? And give those 25 more people a voice to make change. 25 people a voice to become contributors to make this a better world.
It would be so nice to, a few years from now, have people be like, can you believe that people used to think it was okay to just like yell at women on the street? Like, can you believe that people used to think it was okay to talk about people's bodies or touch women that they didn't know?
I don't know if it will be my lifetime. All I know is I gotta keep pushing broom for my grandkids, you know, because it ain't gonna get anywhere any easier, right? The job's gonna get harder, you know, but I still don't want my grandkids to have to live through what I lived through, you know, and that's even to say I don't ever want them to go back to where my mother came from as a residential school survivor. You know, and that's legislation. Like, no matter what we talk about, it ends up being political. You know, why? These are human issues.